What's up everyone, I hope you're having a fantastic weekend grinding away these missions and ranked seasons. Got a couple topics for you today. First of all, of course, we have the Immortals are ready to go. Career arcs have been released and everybody's grinding away as the month ends. Quick tip for you, if you're just planning on grinding one player at a time, if you quit out of a game after the first at-bat, you can get in a lot more at-bats in the span of an hour. Of course, long term, this is going to hurt you if you're trying to do other pitcher missions, but if you're only focusing on one hitter career arc, that's probably the way to do it. In the amount of times that I tried it, I could average about 40 to 70 hits per hour, just doing the first at bat and then quitting out and then getting right back into the game. It depends on if you're using silvers or if you're using diamonds. Of course, it depends on what grind you're doing, so there is a little bit of a difference. I've been doing it against the Rockies since you're able to hit many more home runs in their ballpark, but they do have some lefties, so it depends on who's in your lineup. So yesterday I grinded away and got Mike Schmidt, and I just have his mission left to do and I can get Chipper. But what I'm thinking of doing is trying to get as many of the 350 hit grinds done so that on Wednesday when we stream, I can unlock a few Immortals during the stream. So that's the plan. If you're coming through on Wednesday, be sure to check that out. Alright, and of course, since we have these new Immortals coming out, that means there's going to be a lot more power. Power obviously is the meta of this game. You want to have as much power on your team as you can, and when you have more power, obviously that includes more opposite field power. Currently the power meta is only for pull side hitting. You can't do much of the opposite field hitting right now. But now that the Immortals are coming out, that meta is going to shift to basically cover the entire field. With 125 power, you can do a lot of things and you can cover a lot of distance with those fly balls on any part of the ballpark. That doesn't necessarily mean we want to look for opposite field power, but what it does mean is that you can try to hit opposite field line drives and not be punished for it. Whereas before, you might be hitting line drives to the opposite field, but a lot of them turn into just weak flyouts or deep flyouts, and it doesn't really work for you. So a lot of us have just been pulling the ball, hitting the ball deep, and just seeing what can happen from there. I believe with the Immortals coming out, there's going to be a lot more that we can do by using the entire field. If we try to shoot for the opposite field gaps in the lines, that makes us much more dangerous hitters because we can cover so many more pitches and so much more of the plate. So I put together some graphics for you guys today. This first one is basically what I like to look for or try to visualize before every pitch. Now this is what I try to visualize when I'm actually thinking about it. This graphic here shows what we actually tend to do. The blue arrows, of course, meaning fly balls. The green arrows represent line drives, and red arrows represent ground balls. So obviously, a lot of us are just trying to pull everything for a home run, and our batting averages have suffered. I went from hitting 330 or 350 last year, all the way down to probably 240 in the last ranked season. So yeah, that 240 can still get you wins, but it's not necessarily the best thing to be doing. We'll definitely talk about that in a future video, and I want to show why you're not as far as you think you are from being a better player. Alright, so back to this first graphic right here. This is my visualization pre-pitch. So as you can see, what I really want to think of is these arrows kind of follow the direction of the angle of the bat. Now, I'm assuming that Billy Williams here is a bit of an uppercut swinger. He does have a pretty nice swing for a lefty and actually hits lefties pretty well because of it, but let's just assume that most left-handers have an uppercut swing. This is kind of what it looks like when they're hitting a pitch down the middle. So because of that, I want to open up the entire field, and I want to do it proportional to where the bat is going to be angled. So that's why I have ground balls on the left side. If I'm trying to hit it up in the air, when the pitch is slightly to the left of center, I'm going to end up flying out probably 90% of the time. Now back to the pull side graphic, you see that pitch is actually hittable for a home run. It's very possible that you can take that pitch and hit it for a home run consistently. The problem is you're not going to get that pitch super often as you climb through the ranks. So those blue arrows that you see right there, if you're looking for that pitch, yeah, that pitch is going to be gone all the time. The problem is everything that's not one of those pitches that's lined up with the bat right there is often going to cause you problems. So while you'll have a very dark red hot zone in the center of the zone, everything else is going to really hurt you. And that's where everybody else pitches as you get higher and higher through the ranks. Now back to this first graphic. This graphic right here allows you to have hot zones throughout the strike zone, not just in the center. So yeah, those red arrows on the left side mean you're probably going to hit for some ground balls, more than you would if you're trying to pull everything. But in the long run and overall, you're going to have better success getting the bat on the ball and hitting line drives, getting on base. Of course, baseball is moving to more power heavy and pull side heavy, that's why we get all those shifts going on. But in general, if you're trying to hit like that with every single batter throughout the lineup, it's not going to cause you lasting success. So as I said at the beginning of the video, there's a lot going on in terms of opposite field power as it relates to Immortals. This graphic right here shows a little bit more of the angles that you're going to see from the bats. For a left-handed uppercut swing, this is what you might expect when you have a ball on the outside of the plate. You can see his hand position and the 3 bat angles. Those are really what I want to focus on for now. So you can see first of all that the higher pitches are going to be easier to hit for line drives. You can see the bat is a little flatter through the zone just because his hands are a little bit higher. There's a lot of the ball that you can square up, and you can even get on top of it or even a little bit below it and still hit for line drives, and there's enough elevation on the pitch where you can actually hit for power, especially with these Immortals. At the very bottom of the zone, the ball will be affected by a significant uppercut, but the low pitch elevation means that slicing the ball will actually be low enough to result in a liner. But that middle pitch right there, you basically have to square it up to hit a line drive, because if you get underneath it, the pitch elevation in the strike zone actually causes it to be more of a bit of a fly ball and can end up being a weak fly out. Now with Immortals this may change, but if you have guys in the lineup that aren't quite Immortals just yet, that's going to be a pitch that gets a little bit tricky. So if you want to hit opposite field, that high pitch and that low pitch are your best bets. So this is kind of just an introduction to covering the entire field and what you want to look for before a pitch and as the pitch is coming through. Sometimes you're trying to hit the top of the ball, sometimes you want to hit the bottom of the ball, sometimes you want to square it up completely. So a lot of what I talked about is some of my working theories and definitely what I try to do. I don't know if the reasoning behind it is always true, but it is what has given me some success over time, and it is what I try to think about. And just a reminder, this is what I'm talking about when you're not being thrown pitches down the middle very often. The first thing that you want to make sure before you get into any of this is that you're able to hit that meatball down the middle if someone's throwing it consistently. What I'm talking about here is against pitchers that aren't throwing that meatball for you all the time, you kind of want to have to cover the entire plate. Not necessarily in every single pitch, but throughout a game you should be able to hit pitches all across the strike zone. Covering as much of the plate as you can with hard contact rattles opposing pitchers. If you're going pull crazy and trying to pull everything for a home run, good players will find your weakness and they'll probably beat you. But by hitting pitches all around the zone with hard contact, you're going to be able to get them off of their game. And finally, don't be afraid to hit ground balls. With these guys that have 125 power, a lot of these ground balls are going to get through the infield. If you hit a weak fly ball, it's a weak fly ball and you're out. But ground balls, when they're over 90 miles an hour on the ground, are generally hard to stop. They're going to get through the infield a lot of the time. Now, as I'm making this video, first and foremost, I'm trying to figure things out for myself, right? Because like I said, I'm hitting 240 and I don't want to hit 240. I want to hit closer to 260, 270. And I know people are capable of doing it, so I want to make sure that I'm doing as much as I can to get to that point. So this is the starting point that I'm going to use. And combined with some of the other stuff that I talked about, I hope it brings my hitting to the next level for this game. So for some of you, this may seem pretty basic, but overall, I just want to make sure that I've got it in my head so that I don't end up hitting weak choppers all game. So give it a shot, let me know how it goes, and let's go with those Immortals. Peace. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like it, hit like and subscribe. If you want to see something new or have a specific part of the game you want help with, be sure to leave a comment and we'll all try to help out. Peace.